This is the number one thing that I wish somebody would have told me when I first got started on my fitness journey. And that is, if you don't actually believe that you're going to be successful, you'll never take the right action steps to help you reach your goals. And it all boils down to that, having confidence that you're going to be able to reach your goals. I mean, if you think about it, why do you think anybody does a ketogenic diet or intermittent fasting or carnivore or paleo or Weight Watchers or any kind of diet or program there is? They probably seen or heard about some case studies and testimonials and other people that were successful, and they realized, okay, if it worked for them, it's going to be able to work for me as well. This is where you have to learn how to have faith. You have to learn how to trust the process, because at the end of the day, how do you think you're actually going to build confidence? It's by stepping outside of your comfort zone. It's by challenging yourself and doing things that are typically hard. Because I know way too many people, and who knows, maybe this is actually yourself as well, where you'll do things, right, for a short period of time until you stop seeing results, or until times get hard, and then what do? You throw in the towel. You quit way too soon. And if you think about it, that's like everybody in today's society. Why do you think that over 50% of US Americans are considered overweight and obese and, struggle with having high blood pressure? It's because we live in this Amazon Prime type of society, right? Where we want everything tomorrow, right? We can just go on our phones, go on our computers, order it, and it's going to show up on our doorstep. Whether it's ordering something from Amazon, whether it's ordering, something from a restaurant, right? And get it on DoorDash, whatever the case may be. Everything is so convenient for us. We want this instant gratification. But when it comes to actually changing our health, we have to understand that it's about the long game, right? This isn't going to be a sprint by any means. It's a marathon, and it's a marathon that never ends. Because to acquire, right, proper health within yourself, it's to actually overcome those challenges. That's actually when you learn. Why do you think the word fail stands for first act in learning? Failure is the stepping stones to success. So if you're somebody that's struggling when it comes to losing weight and keeping it off, odds are it has nothing to do with the diet or the program that you're following. It has everything to do with you lacking in confidence within yourself when times get hard and you typically throw in the towel and quit, rather than deciding to pivot, right, and work through those challenges, work through those obstacles, and overcoming them, so that way you can actually reach your health and fitness goals. And this is why having the right mindset is the foundation for success. Because once again, Henry Ford said it best, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And when you have the right mindset and you're faced with these challenges, you start looking at them differently. You start looking at those challenges as opportunities, because you realize here that, hey, this is potential for you to be able to grow. And just like training a muscle, growth typically happens after it's been tested, after it's been put underneath some stress, right? You go to the gym, you work out to break down the muscle. You recover through proper nutrition, hydration, rest and recovery. That's when it grows stronger. That's when it grows more dense. It's the same thing within your mindset. It's about understanding that some of these challenges, hey, it's opportunities for us to grow. Physically, mentally, emotionally, maybe even spiritually. Now, there's an easy way when it comes to overcoming these challenges, and there's a hard way. And at the end of the day, ball is in your court. I'm just always going to tell you what typically works for myself and our coaching members. But let's talk about the hard way first. The hard way is trying to do it by yourself. It's trying to overcome that challenge all by yourself, be that lone wolf. And it's kind of like playing a basketball game 1 against 5. Now, some seasons of life, maybe the team that you're versing, they're not experienced. Maybe they're little toddlers, right? So you can easily win 1 against 5. But other seasons of life, maybe you're versing like the Chicago Bulls when they're in their prime, 1 against 5. And that's a battle that I don't think you're ever going to win that basketball game, So once again, like going out to war. Sometimes you're going to go out to war and you might have 5 little toddlers with some Nerf guns, right? And you're like, all right, this is easy. I got this, right? Sniping them all day long. But then other times, you might go out to war and it's like, hey, you're facing like the Marines, right? The best of the best. And it's going to be difficult. And everybody goes through these different seasons of life. Now, once again, right, you can do things your way, but you're missing out on some finer opportunities. You're also missing out on what I like to say is blind spots, right? Meaning like, hey, maybe there's some holes, right, that you're not necessarily thinking of and seeing. And if you're doing things your own way, you're kind of just like stuck. It's kind of like being on this island all by yourself. Now, the easy way is actually pretty hard in the very beginning also, because you have to rip off the Band-Aid. And that's just admitting that you need help. And it's a lot easier for girls. For guys, we all struggle with this because of our pride and our ego. But the minute we can actually realize here, maybe we got some resources. Maybe we have some people in our corner. maybe we can just like, find some people to just help hold us accountable. It just makes things way easier. So for example, let's just use somebody that's struggling when it comes to losing weight, okay? This person over here is doing it all by themselves. And once again, they only know what they know. They're stuck on the island all by themselves. So they're thinking they need to cut out their carbohydrates, right? Do intermittent fasting, whatever fad diet there is, and that's it, And go, right? They're grinding. They're trying to work out 2 hours every single day, right? And it's just like this all in, all out mentality, okay? This person over here, that's all they know, Now, somebody like myself that's an expert when it comes to health and fitness, it's like, okay, hey, I can see here that maybe if you start eating some carbohydrates, you're going to be able to restore your glycogen stores, help you, see better results within the gym. Also, maybe if we're not working out every single day, we can actually focus on less is more, right? And help our bodies kind of lower that stress, lower that cortisol, and actually progress more when it comes to our weight loss journey, right? So once again, they're not seeing that because they only know what they know. They're on the island. Now, this person over here, right, it's hard to admit that, hey, they need help, but as soon as they do, they're ripping off the Band-Aid, right? And it's like, okay, for this person, they're typically going to see way better results faster, right? And that's the key word. If you want faster results, ask for help, right? Don't be the fly on the wall, like ask for guidance, ask for assistance, because then you're getting that. And so if you think about it, this person over here, let's just say they have a community of people in their corner, right? A bunch of guys and girls that just support them. They're encouraging them, they're helping them every single step of the way. So when this person, right, let's just say they get stuck. They lose 10 pounds and all of a sudden it's been a few weeks. They're not seeing anything else, okay? They reach out to their support group, right? And it's like, hey guys, I need some help. I'm stuck here. I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting a little bit upset. I'm doing all this. I'm not seeing the best results. What's going on? Well, based upon, right, the guidance and knowledge of the other members, maybe somebody has also been through a weight loss plateau of their own and they've been struggling, right? But they figured out what works for them and then boom, they're able to share that information with that individual and give them guidance to help them overcome the challenges, right? Or maybe it's once again, hey, this person over there, as soon as they ask for help, somebody else can then also ask them better questions, assess the situation in a whole, right? And then figure out if there is any blind spots that maybe this person is doing or not doing that maybe can give them better guidance. So once again, this person over here that's on the desert island, they don't get that. They're just kind of like just going off their own emotions, right? Going off their own wit, right? And it's just like, once again, you only know what you know. This person over here, the pressure's off their plates, I remember one of our live coaching calls, I actually asked all the members, when it comes to stress and overcoming stress and when do you feel it the most when the pressure's on, it was very, very funny because anytime somebody was dealing with like a hard situation, right, in their life, maybe it was at work, maybe it was at home, something like that, but they were able to actually have people in their corner, i.e., like let's say for work, and they had to get a work project done. When these individuals had to focus on that hard project or task at work and had to overcome the situation, you know what everybody said? It's like, hey, we were able to do this. We were able to put our heads down and focus and put one foot in front of the other, right? Because guess what? The pressure was off their plate. But, right, when the same question was asked about a situation where you, right, had to overcome a challenge, nobody else had to help you with this. It's just you by yourself, right? Typically, it's like, I felt a little bit like not as confident in myself. I felt a little bit like, hey, maybe it's not all going to work out in the end. I felt a little bit like this. And that's the problem, right? Is when you're doing things by yourself, you go off of the feeling, right? And typically those feelings, right, are getting you into an emotional state of mind where you start to become a little bit uncertain because you lack confidence within yourself. Hence why we're talking about this, guys, because this is so important. Remember, right? To be successful on your journey, you got to have that confidence because if you don't have the right mindset, if you don't believe you're going to be successful, you'll never take the right action steps. Once again, how do you gain this confidence? You can do things by yourself, right? But that's typically hard. Or you can have people, right? That helps you just take the pressure off your plate. You already ripped off the Band-Aid. You waved the white flag and admit that you need help, and there's nothing wrong with that by any means. And guess what? You typically see way better, way faster results. And it all starts with that. So to summarize, right, to maybe give you some clarity in terms of, once again, why are we even talking about this? Because I want you to think about where you're currently at right now in terms of your health and fitness journey, right? Maybe you're trying to get to this next level. Maybe you're trying to overcome this star or overcome this plateau. The question is, do you actually believe in yourself that you can do it? And then is that because it's just you knowing what you know and that's it? Well then, hey, maybe you got some blind spots that maybe they just need to be a little bit more open to you so that way you can see that there's some adjustments that you could be making. Or maybe it's like, hey, you have confidence within yourself because you also have a team of people around you that support you. Because regardless, there's two ways of building confidence here. You can build it with a community or you can build it by yourself. But regardless, the only way to build confidence is by, once again, stepping outside of your comfort zone, overcoming those challenges, looking at them as opportunities and stepping stones to success. Now the question is, if you're doing this all by yourself, are you actually going to have the right mindset and look at those challenges as opportunities? Or if you're doing this, right, with other people, maybe it's a little bit easier to say, you know what? Hey guys, I'm going through this right now in my life and I'm struggling with this. I'm not seeing the best results. What is some tips? What is some, guidance that you guys can help me out with, right? Some words of encouragement. And maybe that's all that person needs to help them get over the hump. So put yourself right now and just simply ask yourself those same questions with you on your own health and fitness journey. Hopefully this has helped you out. If it did, I would love for you to give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below letting me know your biggest takeaway. And if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate it if you did. As always, guys, this has been Coach Joe with Heartletics.com, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Peace out, Girl Scouts.